Eastern Pacific, 140 miles offshore. A go-fast boat racing at 50 knots carrying $42 million in drugs. 5 smugglers thinking they'd escaped, but 25,000 feet above them, a Coast Guard surveillance plane had been tracking them for 2 hours. And what happened next showcases the most elite maritime interdiction unit on Earth coast. Guard snipers who shoot engines out of fleeing boats from moving helicopters, and today you're watching Interdiction number 501. Inside the Go Fast, the crew was confident because they'd done this run 18 times before. Same route, same boat, same protection money paid to the right people. The helmsman kept checking GPS, on schedule, on course. And the cargo under those blue tarps worth $42 million on the street, split 5 ways minus the cartel's cut. Each man would clear $2 million, enough to disappear forever. 4 Mercury outboards pushing maximum throttle, racing across empty ocean 140 miles from coast, with no other vessels visible in any direction, just blue water and what they thought was freedom. But they had no idea that at 0600 hours, an HC-130J Super Hercules began circling at 25,000 feet. Its NAPS-154 advanced surveillance radar sweeping a 200-mile radius, tracking hundreds of contacts. The radar operator flagged this one at 0800, speed inconsistent with vessel profile. Course deviation from standard shipping lanes, no eyes transponder signal 3 strikes. The sensor operator switched to Star Sapphire electro-optical system zooming in from 140 miles away. And through stabilized camera, he could count the outboards, see tarps covering cargo, even make out crew moving on deck. At 0-9-40-5, the tactical coordinator noticed something critical. The Go Fast stopped zigzagging and was running straight north, either getting cocky or burning too much fuel. He picked up encrypted satellite phone. Kimball, this is Eyes 1. Target maintaining steady course speed 50. Recommend launch interdiction assets. Data cascaded through Link 16 to the Kimball's Combat Information Center, to Joint Interagency Task Force South, to D-Liaison monitoring cartel patterns. The Kimball was 200 nautical miles away, too far to intercept at her maximum. 28 knots, but she didn't need to close distance herself because the math was simple. The Go Fast would burn through fuel in 4 hours at current speed. The helicopter could launch, intercept, and resolve while the cutter continued closing for aftermath. These smugglers made one critical error. They were operating within range of something with a very specific solution for runners who won't stop. From a moving helicopter hitting a moving engine block should be impossible, but the Coast Guard's HITRON unit had done it 500 times before. The MH-65E lifted off the Kimball's flight deck at 1100 hours twin turboshaft engines, pushing 853 horsepower each. Unlike standard search and rescue configuration most people associate with Coast Guard Dolphins, this aircraft had been modified for very specific mission: precision engine destruction. The pilot banked hard toward intercept point, climbing to 3,000 feet, where fuel efficiency peaked. And 20 minutes into flight, the co-pilot spotted the Go Fast, a white rooster tail stretching half a mile behind. 4 outboards running full throttle throw absolutely massive amounts of water into air. And from 3 miles out, it looked like someone drew a chalk line across the ocean. The smugglers were still running counter-surveillance zigzags, completely unaware they'd been tracked continuously for over 2 hours. The zigzag pattern was textbook cartel doctrine: change heading every 3 to 5 minutes. Never maintain straight line long enough for intercept calculations. And against surface vessels, this works because patrol boats must constantly recalculate, burning extra fuel. But the helicopter operated in 3 dimensions. While smugglers zagged left and right, the MH-65E simply flew straight lines between intercept points, cutting corners the boat couldn't. Inside the Go Fast, smugglers were probably doing their own math. 4 Mercury 300s burned 25 gallons per hour, each at wide-open throttle. Their tank held maybe 400 gallons. They'd been running 2 hours, so 200 gone with 2 hours fuel left, but Mothership Rendezvous was 3 hours away at current speed. Someone miscalculated, or they burned more fuel than expected, and either way physics was becoming their enemy. While the helicopter had 4 hours endurance and could refuel on Kimball if needed, this wasn't a chase anymore. This was foregone conclusion playing out in slow motion. The helicopter dropped to 500 feet, approaching from Go Fast stern, maintaining 500-meter standoff outside effective small arms range while providing optimal positioning. The pilot matched Go Fast speed and initiated compliance phase that Coast Guard procedures demanded time for technology to do the talking. The co-pilot activated the long-range acoustic device, the LRAD, capable of projecting intelligible commands at 162 decibels, louder than rocket launch, at close range. Broadcasting English and Spanish. Stop your vessel, prepare for boarding. This is United States Coast Guard. The helicopter's rotor downwash created localized hurricane around Go Fast with spray and chaos everywhere. But smugglers didn't even slow down. The answer was simple for criminals below. 5 of them. 2,800 pounds contraband worth $42 million. Potential 20-year sentences, each surrender meant certain conviction. Running meant maybe possibly getting away if they reached shallow water or friendly territory. They'd take those odds not knowing the helicopter had dealt with runners before, many times before. 15 minutes of warnings, visual signals, and siren wails produced exactly 0 compliance. So the pilot radioed Kimball for authorization to proceed with warning shots, and approval came immediately. The gunner prepared M240B machine gun capable of delivering 650 rounds per minute, and the first burst sent a message written in tracers and waterspouts. Rounds impacted just meters in front of Go Fast bow. That distinctive mechanical hammering that anyone in combat knows means business echoed across water, and most smugglers stop at this point, but not these guys. They pushed harder with 4 Mercury outboards screaming at redline RPMs, props cavitating through evasive turns. After 3 bursts of warning fire, it was clear these smugglers chose the hard way, so the pilot called it in. Subjects are non-compliant. Response was immediate. Authorized. The aerial gunner transformed from M240B to something far more surgical. A Barrett M107 semi-automatic rifle chambered in 50 BMG. This wasn't just switching weapons, this was switching from negotiation to termination of engines. The gunner was part of helicopter Interdiction Tactical Squadron HITRON, based Jacksonville, the only airborne law enforcement unit in the world, authorized for what they call airborne use of force. Since 1998, they've conducted over 500 vessel interdictions, removing $6.7 billion worth of contraband from cartel logistics. These are an average Coast Guard aviators they train specifically to shoot engines out of fleeing boats from moving helicopters in ocean conditions. Selection starts with top 1% of Coast Guard marksmen. Then candidates spend months shooting from moving platforms in 6-foot swells with 20-knot winds. Learning to read ocean patterns, anticipate wave timing, synchronize breathing with helicopter motion. Why target engines specifically? Sinking boats destroys evidence and creates maritime emergencies, but a boat with no engines is just a floating crime scene waiting for processing. The Barrett M107 weighs 30 pounds, each round weighs 42 grams. Leaving barrel at 853 meters per second, carrying over 11,000 foot-pounds of energy, enough to punch through an inch of steel at 500 meters, and aluminum outboard blocks might as well be tissue paper. The first 50 caliber round found the starboard outer engine's power head, the 300 horsepower. Mercury didn't just stop, it disintegrated. Aluminum fragments and oil erupted in black cloud as internal components became external, and Go Fast speed dropped from 50 to 38 knots instantly. Second shot took port outer engine through midsection, severing fuel lines, destroying water pump engines seized solid in seconds. Speed now 25 knots. Third shot was almost artistic in precision. The round entered starboard inner engine, slower unit, and exited through powerhead, taking most internal components with it. 12 knots now, barely maintaining steerage. Fourth and final shot ended all pretense. Last Mercury exploded in shower of metal and oil. The Go Fast went from barely mobile to dead in water instantly, with no engines, no options, nowhere to run. The Kimball launched 2 7-meter rigid hull inflatable boats, each carrying 6 operators from Tactical Law Enforcement Team South. These weren't patrol officers. These were maritime special operations trained for opposed boardings. The ribs approached in textbook pincer maneuver, 470 horsepower diesels pushing 45 knots. Operators wearing level 4 body armor with M4A1 carbines. Commands erupted in rapid-fire Spanish as 5 smugglers stood frozen among TARP's 12 rifles, covering 5 criminals rapidly reconsidering life choices. The smugglers moved to bow, hands high, getting on their bellies. The disposal team spread accelerant across deck and hull. Then, with less fanfare than lighting the Olympic torch, an operator threw a single flare aboard, and the Go Fast transformed into the world's most expensive bonfire. They watched it burn for hours until it slipped beneath waves, then transported guests and cargo to nearest U.S. port for processing. This interdiction showcased why Coast Guard HITRON remains the world's most elite maritime enforcement unit. Precision shooting from moving platforms in ocean conditions that would be impossible for conventional snipers. Systematic destruction of all 4 engines without sinking the vessel, preserving evidence. And tactical coordination between surveillance aircraft, helicopter gunships, and boarding teams that removed $42 million from cartel supply chains. The smugglers made fatal assumptions. That 50-knot speed meant escape, that empty ocean meant invisibility, that paying protection money guaranteed safe passage. But modern maritime surveillance using advanced radar, electro-optical systems, and interagency data sharing means there's no such thing as invisible anymore. And HITRON's 500 successful interdictions prove that running from Coast Guard helicopters isn't a chase, it's a countdown to engine destruction. If this breakdown of elite maritime operations fascinated you, smash subscribe for more real-world tactical analysis. Comment which impressed you most: the 2-hour undetected surveillance, the precision 50 caliber shooting, or the coordinated multi-asset response. Remember, cartels invest millions in go-fast boats and protection networks, but they can't outrun physics, technology, or Coast Guard gunners who've mastered the impossible art of hitting moving targets from moving helicopters.